Drinking in the morning sun, blinking in the morning sun, shaking off the heavy one.
And welcome. Thanks for joining in today. This is probably, without a doubt, the most anticipated video that my viewers seem to look forward to every single year. And I can see why, because I certainly do also very much look forward to counting down my top 50 albums of the year. This will be the third year that I've done it on YouTube, and I think the fifth year overall that I've had a top 50 list. And it's always very, very difficult to narrow down my choices to a top 50. This year maybe wasn't as hard as the previous year. It was a great year in music, and I don't mean it in that regard, but my purchases were down about 20% from the previous year. I think in 2016 I had purchased roughly 150 to 160 albums, and this year was just around 115 to 120. I don't have an exact count, but I know it was around that number, about 115 to 116. So, you know, in my effort to try to curve my spending downward, I managed to shave off about 20% of the albums that I felt I needed to add to my collection. So, you know, moderate success, I guess you could say. So, I know these videos tend to get a little bit long. It's going to be broken up into two parts again, just like the previous 2 years. This video I will focus on number 26 through number 50, and the next video I will do right after Christmas, somewhere between Christmas and New Year, just like last year, will be 25 through number 1. So we'll start, I guess, with the bottom tier, and we'll work our way up in by the new year to reveal my number 1 album of the year. And it's already decided, and I think a lot of you may be quite surprised when you actually get to that point. So that's all I'll say about that for now. Before we get started with the actual countdown, just like the previous year, I thought I would introduce some albums, top 10 albums that were runners-up. And I would say again, as I say every single year, anything that makes the upper half. If I purchased 120 albums last year from 2017, these 50 officially that I do, but these 60, including the top, the 10 that I'm considering runners-up, are really, it's tough to make that cut, as you can imagine. You know, when you purchase a lot of records and listen to a lot of music, to make the top half of any list is good. So there isn't a single album on the list that you'll see from even the runners-up that I don't like. They're all good albums. And it can be very difficult. Okay, where do you place number 35 versus number 45? It's, you know, subjective and kind of depending on your mood and whatnot. So I do spend a lot of time on this list. It's something that I work on for probably 90 days prior to coming on here and sharing it with you. There's always last-minute additions. There's some things that don't make the cut. There's albums that come out very at the tail end of the year that sometimes can bump other things off. So I always want to leave a little bit of wiggle room and share with you my 10 runners-up. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to turn away for just a second or two and run a quick video and show you the 10 albums that didn't quite make the top 50, but I still consider them worthy of your attention and something you may want to check out, especially if you know the artist. So without further ado, we'll get started right on that. I'll come back and we'll get right into the countdown. So stick around, we'll be right back.
Everybody, let me tell you about my love brought to me by an angel from above, fully equipped with a lifetime guarantee. Once you try it, well, I'm sure that you'll agree. Without
back. So there you have it. There are my runners up to the top 50 for 2017. I just wanted to make a quick little shout out to those albums because they really were close to making it, and some of them got cut up, bumped off at the very end. So I really thought that it was good to give a mention to those 10 albums, and there's probably others. In fact, like the one behind me I just played, as you can see, I've changed my clothes. I'm doing this in stages, and I seem to always get interrupted. But anyway, the album behind me is a new artist for me, Slow Meadow, and I think there's members from Hammock either involved with that album or at least in the production of, but I won't ramble on, but that album behind me is a really excellent album that I'm not even placing anywhere. So even outside the 60 albums this year, there's still a lot of good music out there. So as you can see, it was very difficult to make the cut. So I think we'll just jump right into it here. I've got my number 26 through 50 lined up and ready to go. So if you're ready, I'm ready. We'll just get started. Number 50, I think this is the 5th album from this particular band. I could be wrong. A lot of this I just kind of shoot off the hip, so feel free to correct me if you see mistakes on that. But I think this is the 5th album from Cut Copy. This is Haiku from Zero. Another strong album. They don't have a bad album. Cut Copy is a really good kind of dancey electronic outfit, and I've always enjoyed their records. They make you feel good. They kind of make you want to get up and move around, and got a lot of energy. So number 50 from Cut Copy. This is the Vinyl Me Please exclusive limited yellow vinyl on 600, limited to 600 pressings. I got number, are they numbered? Maybe they're not numbered. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's 600 of this particular color. Yeah, and I will say a lot of these records, as the next year flows on and I get a chance to listen to some of them more, because honestly, when you buy a lot of music, sometimes you get 1 or 2 tries to see if an album's going to make it. Some of these I played a lot, especially towards the top, but some of these towards the bottom, and this is a good example on the next one, I've only played once, and that opinion might change. It might go up, it might go down. So it's, you know, subjective. It's, take it for what it is, but you know, I think first impressions are important. And my first impression of my number 49 album was just pretty good. Not as good as some of the work that she has done through the years, and I think this is about the 3rd album in a row I've been slightly disappointed with, but always cutting edge, always creative, always innovative. And that's Bjork, and this is Utopia. This is, I don't know the number of albums she's put out, I think 9th studio album from Bjork, or Björk, as I've been corrected a few times. And yeah, it's a hard listen. You know, I think this is one I'm going to have to sit with a few times. And you know, if art is something that you enjoy, you might appreciate the artwork on this cover. If it's something that you don't, then you might find it revolting and disgusting. I don't know, but you have to give it to her for creativity. It's a good album, and it's just one I need to spend more time with. I only just got it 2 weeks ago, so I've had a chance to sit through and listen to it once. My first impressions were good. They weren't great. It wasn't jumping out at me as like Volnakira, as something that was just an absolute gem, you know, a landmark type album. But again, another solid effort from Björk. So really happy with it, and I think as time goes on, this potentially has an opportunity to move up further in the ranks. So number 48, this is an album that gave me a very good impression from the moment I heard it. Now, admittedly, it's only been twice, but both times it's a really, really pleasant, fun, great collaboration between 2 great artists, and that is Courtney Barnett and Kurt Weill. This is Lotta Sea Lice. Really cool sounding album. They complement each other very well, both vocally and the way they play. Their styles are similar. The way they structure songwriting is similar, and this is a great collaboration between the 2 of them. I don't know who came up with the idea, if they're friends. I don't know, but anyway, it turned out fantastic, and I hope it's not the only time that these 2 artists get together. I really enjoy Kurt Weill. I'm not a massive fan, but I have 3 of his studio albums, and Courtney Barnett, fell in love with a couple of years ago, and I think she's one of the rising stars in music. So a lot of Sea Lice comes in at number 48. Number 47 may disappoint a few of my friends who are big fans of this particular artist and the band that he came from, and I am as well. This album for me was a disappointment. Not a massive disappointment, but nonetheless it was not as good for me as his previous two albums. With that said, I think again it's going to take more time, and I haven't had it very long, and you know, give me 6 months and I might feel completely different. But for now, I'm going on, you know, initial thoughts, and for me it's again not one that I need to jump right out and feel urgently needing to play again. And that is Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. This is, oh God, Who Built the Moon? And it's good. I mean, I don't want to say negative things, because again, anything in the top 50 is going to be a good album. But it isn't a top tier album like his previous work for me. There are some standout tracks. I've enjoyed each of the singles that have come out. Holy Mountain is one of those really wow songs. And She Taught Me How to Fly is another great song. It just wears a little thin. There's a bit of filler on the side 2. I think it was a risky album for Noel in a way, but I do applaud him for not sticking to the formula. So I think it's got a worthy place in my top 50, but it isn't for me as good as his previous work, at least as far as songwriting goes. Next album is one that has, people have been talking about this record a lot, and I was a little on the fence. It's like, oh, everybody's doing that, you know, who hasn't done this style of music? But I'd give it a shot because I found it at my local record store. They had the limited edition gray vinyl, and it was normal price, and I thought, well, why not, you know, because I know this now goes for about $40–50. And I'm glad I did try it, because it's turned out to be better than I thought. I thought it was just going to be kind of a run-of-the-mill, here we go again, same, you know, heavy guitars and a lot of distortion and lyrics you can't understand, shoegaze. But it's better than I expected, and that is Cigarettes After Sex, their self-titled debut album. That's the cover. I'm not leaving anything out here. That's the whole thing, front and back. So we don't have a lot of creativity as far as artwork goes, but this album does stick out for me because there's more to what you hear on the surface. If you give it a chance to really concentrate, I believe this is a band that has a lot of potential. They have Texas roots, which kind of helps, I suppose. And yeah, I really was pleasantly surprised. So Cigarettes After Sex, I get it why people are talking about this, and it makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah, give that one a try. I think it's worth your attention if you haven't already. Next album is one that was highly anticipated from me, and I'm probably going to pronounce the title of the record wrong. But this is a collaboration from two people that, one person in particular that I have great fondness for, and that's Simon Raymond, or Raimondi, or however you want to say it, from Cocteau Twins. And the head of Bella Union came back this year with music. He's not really known in the past 20 years for putting out a lot of music. And he is a multi-instrumentalist, was a bassist for Cocteau Twins, and is collaborating with Richie Thomas from, oh, I can't think of the name of the band he was in, but a popular band. And there's a lot of other musicians on this. It's definitely a collaboration. This is Lost Horizons, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce the title of the record called Ohala. I could be wrong, so don't shoot me. But it's a beautiful record, and particularly the first two sides are mesmerizing. The third and fourth side go on a little bit too long, and I think it loses a little bit of its punch. But the first side and the second side, I thought, wow, this is going to be one of my albums of the year, hands down. The quality does go down quite a bit for me as the record progresses, but boy, is it worth your attention. This is a die-cut cover. It came with the orange side. There's kind of a, you know, a daylight and an evening kind of a look to this, kind of a die-cut inner sleeve thing, but really, really impressive. Oh, here it is. It's a beautiful album, and this is a limited edition orange vinyl. It also comes on it came in a very deluxe, super, I don't even know what you call it, with spinning picture discs and everything else. But I opted just to get the record, limited edition, orange and transparent. So one disc is orange and the other one's clear. But really, really, really nice. And from Bella Union, who is a record label I have immense respect for. Artists like Beach House, artists like Father John Misty, and many, many others are attached to Bella Union. Fabulous. So number 45. I better speed things up. This is going to go on forever. Number 44 is Strand of Oaks, second album called Hard Love. I was okay with their first album. I really was. I thought it was pretty good. This one surprised me because I didn't like the cover, and I thought, you know, here we go, another hipster kind of album. But this is really good, and the songwriting is improved. And this was part of the Vinyl Me Please, not one of their automatic issues, but they put out an exclusive color, and I thought, yeah, I did like the first album enough to try it. And I'm really glad I did, because this is an improvement for me, although a lot of people love the first album. And I do too, but this is better. The songwriting's improved, and I think, again, tons and tons of potential. On Dead Oceans Records. This is the Vinyl Me Please 116 of 600. So very, very pleased that I took a chance on that and am moving forward with that artist. Here's an artist here in number 43 that's been around a long time. I think this is the 7th or 8th album from this band, or more perhaps. And you know, I have all their records, and I honestly don't play any of them a lot. Now this one, on the other hand, I've played a lot. And the reason being is it's catchy, it's fun, it's a good, fun listen, and you can kind of get lost in it without even trying. And that is Spoon, and that's Hot Thoughts at number 43. This is the red vinyl. And again, there isn't really a bad song on here. It's got a lot of great hooks, it's got a lot of great guitar, and it's just really, really fun. Surprise, surprise, a band that just kind of goes in one ear and out the other many times for me in the past, even though I have their full discography. I'm glad I keep going with them, because it seems like even with age they keep improving. So go figure on that one. Who knew? But Hot Thoughts from Spoon is a really good effort. Pardon me 1 second, I'm just going to take a drink here. Alright, number 42. I really wish that I could put this higher, because it's a band that I have massive admiration for. Has been a favorite of mine for decades, and it's an album I really want to love, and I do in many ways, but it just falls short again, much like their last one. For me, it's just not quite up to snuff, but with that said, it is a very good album still, and one that takes a little bit of getting used to, and I applaud them for continuing to push the boundaries a little bit, and that is Depeche Mode's Spirit. Really, really good album. I know a lot of people didn't like the lead single called Where's the Revolution, but I actually really like it, and that's a highlight of this album for me. Depeche Mode have God knows how many records, probably a dozen or more, and they continue to impress even the hardest critics, I suppose, and I think overall this album did quite well for them, at least in Europe. And yeah, it's a good listen, and the quality, oh, this is the vinyl of the year for me as far as sound quality goes. You put this on and it is a tester of your system, because seriously good pressing on this album. So I know it was Two Turtle who had purchased the CD and wondered if perhaps he should purchase the vinyl record, and I gotta tell you, yes, get the vinyl record on this one if you like having Depeche Mode on vinyl, because this is a pressing that impressed me. So very, very good effort there from Depeche Mode. Number 42. Number 40 is the second full album, third release. I think the first album is more considered an EP. And I'm happy to have it because it's hard to get now. But the third release from Horse Thief. This is another band on Bella Union, one of those labels I just love. I keep finding things over and over again from Bella Union I just absolutely adore. And if you're not familiar with the label, go check out their website. They have a European one and an American one. You can find tons of good music if you're interested in finding new things right there at Bella Union. This is Trials and Truths, and this is, I believe, gold vinyl. And another great album. They sound a lot like Fleet Foxes or oh gosh, Well, you know, they're in that genre of kind of country rock, folk, hipster, whatever you want to call it. I think they're from Oklahoma City originally. I'm not 100% sure, but really, really strong album here. And I would encourage anyone to check out Horse Thief. That's a band I go to a lot. Their first EP, I absolutely love it, and I'm glad I stick with them, because it's another band that deserves a lot more attention than they get. And I hope that one day somebody's going to recognize the talent that's here. So there you go. Number 40. Where am I at here? Yeah, number 40. This is the first album I bought in 2017, and not quite up to number one's David Bowie last year, who was the first album I bought in 2016. This one comes in at number 40, but it's, God knows, 50th album from this artist. And very prolific, very good, always reliable, always interesting. And that is Reflections from Brian Eno. This is a bit of more on the ambient side, and it's 4 pieces of music, one per side of this double album. And it's contemplative, it's reflective, it's just as the title would suggest, it's called Reflection. And very, very good listen. And if you like your music soft and mellow and ambient, this would be a great album to add to your Brian Eno collection. An artist who is always impressing me, and will continue to do so probably until he stops making music, whether it's, you know, way back in Roxy Music days, or his glam rock early days, to his, you know, solo career throughout the years. Has just been phenomenal, and I'm happy to have another Brian Eno album on my top list. And number 39 is an album that might rank highly in a lot of people's lists, and you know, for me 39 is pretty high. It's not my favorite album ever from this band, but it's up there. It's good. And I would say, you know, no letdown at all, that this is the album from the National called Sleep Well Beast. This is the limited edition blue vinyl. I'm not taking these out because we'd be here for days. But yeah, another great album. And again, it's not, I mean, at first, the first few tracks are like, wow, this is good. And then it kind of like, okay, I need to hear that again. I need to hear that again. I need to spend more time with that. It's another one of those albums that I think that you're going to have to really invest some time with. And it could grow on me even more than I already like it. So really solid effort from the National again. And yeah, you know, they've been around a while. I think this is the 7th album or more from the National. I'm making a bit of room here. And they really don't have any bad albums, but I'm trying to think of the title of the one that I consider their best. It's the purpley cover one. The name escapes me. I'm getting old. My memory's not as good as it used to be. But yeah, I think you'll know which one I'm talking about. But anyway, it's another good effort from them. All right, so here's number 38 from a band I just mentioned. I think in this one, talk about an album that's going to take a little time and a radical departure from their first two. And it took a long time for this to come out. I guess they decided to completely go in a different direction almost. There are moments in this album where you think, oh, they're back on track. That's familiar to me. And then it lasts like 20 seconds and they go right back and the songs change, and it's like an ever-changing album. It's like, what are we doing here? It's really, really a challenging listen. And that is Fleet Foxes' Crack Up. And I really, again, I've got to applaud the effort for being different and trying something new. And when it's good, it is fantastic. There are moments of this that are annoying, but overall, it is a really solid album, and those good moments really make it worth it, because I'm telling you, the style of music is radically different than what you might expect if you have either of their first two albums. But then there are moments when you really do recognize the singing and the music behind the name. And boy, I tell you, it's a challenge. So I see here on the hype sticker, it's Astonishing from Uncut. likely to be the most remarkable album of the year, New York Times. So yeah, it's really good, and it deserves a lot of attention. And again, I think I need more time with it, because when I do spend time with this album, I really get a lot of warm fuzzies and like, wow, that's something special. And then there's other times it's like, oh, turn it off, it's terrible. So it's just a tough one to rank for me. Number 37 is one that maybe isn't so tough to rank, because I expected more. But then again, this is a band that hasn't really given me anything wow since the 90s. So it's been a long time since I've been wowed. But they continue to crank out decent albums, and I think this one is another decent album. And this is U2, Songs of Experience, the follow-up to Songs of Innocence from, I don't know, 3 years ago. And when you spend 3 years in between albums, and it's talked about 3 years ago that this would be the follow-up, you almost expect something to be amazing. Like, you know, this is going to be something back in the glory days of like Achtung Baby, or who knows, you know, maybe one of their more loved albums, you know, that are hard to beat in anyone's catalog. But unfortunately, we get a little bit of the same old here. And I'm saying that, and I'm putting it here in number 37. So I don't want to be unfair about it, but there's some good tracks on here. And for this one, I'm just going to tell you, like, I really like the song American Soul. I like the song Red Flag Day. I really like the whole third side quite a lot. And, you know, it starts off a little iffy. It gets better as we go. I mean, song 5, song 7, and the whole third side are pretty damn solid. But there's some filler, and, you know, none of the songs really are just ones that you just say, oh, I gotta hear that again. And that's kind of what you expect with U2. So maybe expectations are too high for a band that's been around for nearly 40 years, but since they still sell out stadiums, you almost do expect them to be putting out albums every 3 or 4 years that are worthy of the wait and the anticipation and the name. And yet we get mediocrity in a lot of cases, and then that occasional glimpse of brilliance that is unfortunately all too unfamiliar in this one. So number 37 is U2's new album. Number 36, I'm just going to have to show you on CD. It is coming out on vinyl, but it's not here yet. And this was released kind of mid-year, so he's taking his time getting the vinyl record out, but it is on order. Should be here soon. And this is an artist that I find incredibly fun. This one is completely different shift of direction again, but what else would you expect from an artist like Cornelius? This is Mellow Waves. And as I said, I only have the CD. Even the CD is hard to come by because he's primarily releasing his music in Japan, and it's a little difficult to get a hold of his stuff here, but it can be done, and if you jump on it right away, even Amazon has it for a while. But yeah, Mellow Waves is just how it sounds really, compared to like Point and Sensuous. This is pretty mellow, and but he's still got that jerky, glitchy, exciting moments when songs change a lot, and he's just layering instruments and you name it on it, you know. I mean, I don't know how he produces his stuff live. I know he tours, and he's got a big band behind him, and you probably would need a big band to recreate this sound. But every release that he has it's like a amusement park for your ears, because every time you hear this, you're going to hear something different, and it's unlike anything I own. And I applaud him for his studio skills and his arrangements, and you know, I think it's all self-written, self-produced, and it's amazing. So if you're not familiar with the Japanese artist Cornelius, check him out, because Point, Sensuous, this album, what's the one with the Planet of the Apes theme? I'm not sure, but he's all over the map and has been for a long time, and he's a great artist, so better stop there. Number 35 is a Texas type art. I mean, they have had some national exposure, but this is an artist, local artist, I suppose you could say. Bit of a family thing going on here with Isley. This is, I think, their 4th full-length album called what is it called? I'm Only Dreaming. And their last couple albums have just been, yeah, okay, you know, it's typical. It's just what you would expect, you know, but this is really good. This surprised me. This is back to their first album, good. They had a first EP, I'm not good with titles, and then they had a full-length album, and those two are amazing. And this is back to that kind of quality. And, you know, to find that groove again, that sweet spot in between a couple albums that were just kind of like, I think they're, you know, maybe you've run their course. I was really, really happy with this one. So this is, you know, I haven't shown you any records. This one's really pretty, but I think I'm just going to leave it alone. This is a white and teal colored vinyl, very similar to the colors that you see on the cover here. And it's beautiful. But I know this is going to be a long video, so I'm just going to not show you guys this color on the vinyl records. You can look it up. I'm sure it's on Google. But yeah, Isley, I'm Only Dreaming comes in at number, where am I here? 35. So I better really speed this up. I'm going to go 30 minutes or so. Number 34 is an album that it seems like everybody I know likes, and I'm so happy that people are starting to take notice of this band, like my friend Ben Simpson, like my friend Ross Goodall, and I'm sure many others. And this is, I think, the fourth album from the band Real Estate. This is called In Mind. This is the limited edition gold vinyl, and I mean, they're very consistent. Every album, if you like this one, you're going to like all their albums. Kind of like Beach House in a way where they really don't have a bad album. And they really don't stray too far from the formula of what works for them. And it works. Why change something that's great? So I like this album a lot. And when you put it on, it just sounds good. You know, there's just nothing not to like about this band. There's nothing not to like about this album. While it may not be revolutionary and it may fit into that genre of artists that are doing a lot of the same thing, they do stand out as great songwriters, and they play their instruments well, and they construct their songs very, very well. So to me, it's worthy. Number 34. Number 33 is the third album from a collaborative effort of a bunch of people. I found out about this collaborative effort from my love of Joe Bonamassa and his solo blues albums. This is a side project of his called Rock Candy Funk Party, and the third album from Rock Candy Funk Party, which includes great musicians from, well, I'm not going to be able to pronounce some of these. Tal Bergman, Joe Bonamassa, Mike Merritt, Renato Nito, Ty Taylor, Mahalia Barnes. They're all incredible musicians. This is The Groove Cubed. Very clever title. And I feel like I'm losing my voice. Fantastic third album. Their best album, I think. Believe it or not. I love their first one. Not as crazy about their second one. This is a winner. This one really, really is a fun listen. And I don't know. Everything Joe Bonamassa touches just seems to be magical to me. And no exception for Rock Candy Funk Party, coming in at number 33. This is not a blues album, though. This is just how it sounds. It's kind of funky, kind of rocky. All right, number 32 is the second album from a band that probably I've never mentioned on this channel, and many of you probably will have never heard. Kind of a garage psych band called Beaches, all female. I don't know where they're from. Second of Spring, aptly titled second album. Very colorful, kind of patchwork type cover, and a bit of a picture there of the gals. Really, really, really good. I mean, these girls rock. They, you know, I shouldn't even worry about what sex they are, because you wouldn't care. I mean, obviously it's a female singing, but as far as musicianship and what they're doing, they do it as well as anybody. Really, really good. And I would love everyone to go check out Beaches and get behind them, because I don't know what kind of a following they have, but fantastic album, especially if you like kind of psych garage type music. So great second album from Beaches. This next one, number 31, was a complete out of the blue, forgot I ordered it because it was a total mistake kind of thing. This is a Vinyl Me Please monthly thing, and you got to swap every month. If you don't like this selection, they're going to send you automatically. And I had full intentions to swap it because I've never heard of this person, and I'm too lazy to go check out new music sometimes, as much as I buy. You know, you just don't have time to hear everything. but I forgot I got it, and was like, wow, am I glad I didn't swap this one, because what a surprise. What a terrific, terrific album. I mean, judging by the cover and some of the imagery, I thought it was going to be hip-hop. It's not. Moses Sumney, a romanticism, I think it's said. This is terrific. This is more singer-songwriter stuff, and totally unexpected. And this is it definitely worth your time. If you like, oh, what's the name of that artist that I like so much? God, my memory today, it's just awful. Well, it's sitting up there, and I can't read it because my eyes are terrible, but just check it out. Moses Sumney, really, really solid album. And it's not hip-hop by any means, which I thought it was. It's definitely singer-songwriter, and he's got a terrific voice, and he's got a terrific style about him. And I'm so glad that I kept it, because that's an artist that I want to hear more and more and more from. All right, number 30. We got 5 to go here. Is the, I don't know how many years it's been between albums for this band, but I know it's been a few. This is Ride, the Weather Diaries. This comes in at number 30. Great album. Really impressive. This is the clear vinyl. It's got an embossed cover. It's beautiful. Beautiful packaging, beautiful album, great guitars, a lot of distortion, everything you would expect from Ride. I think they're from Manchester in England, I think, and fantastic. You know, I don't have a lot of their albums. I think I have 3 albums from them, and a collection of B-sides that I got on Record Store Day. They don't have any bad songs, none. I mean, this is a really good album, so maybe it should be higher if I'm saying all that. And, you know, now I'm saying that out loud, I probably agree that this is an album that is definitely worthy of a good placement. Number 29 is an album I had very little hope for, because one of the principal guys, it started off as a 5-piece band, and it went to 3 guys, and now it's down to 1 person, basically, Johnny. And I really had no hope for it whatsoever. Not that I don't like Johnny Pierce. I do like Johnny Pierce a lot. He is the heart and soul, in a way. Maybe the heart, but not the soul of the drums. And it's like, abysmal is the way the album, I mean, it's called Bismal Thoughts. The album cover is abysmal. And I thought, well, without the Jacob being the songwriter, I mean, musical portion of it at least, now it's just up to Johnny 100%. You know, how is this going to be? Because, you know, they put no effort into the cover. I just thought it was going to be a throwaway record, and really, honestly, it's very good. Harkening back to their early sound, you know, where it's just very jangly, very, very easy listening, pop kind of cool sound. And I'm glad I have not stopped following the drums, because it is a very pleasant surprise. Forget about the horrible cover. Horrible. I mean, maybe one of the worst album covers I've ever seen. Between the font and the picture, this Johnny's boyfriend, and I don't think they're even together anymore. It's a disaster, but the music is not a disaster. It's really good. So check that out. If you've ever liked anything from the drums, definitely worth your time. Totally different direction here from a band from Scotland, I think, or Ireland, one of the two. Their debut album, bunch of young teenagers, really, pretty sure they're just barely out of high school, and they have a very familiar sound. I'm not gonna lie. They are not going to get any awards for originality, but they do it damn well, and it's a very fun album. And it's the Sherlocks. The album's called Live for the Moment, and I really love the album cover. I don't know why, but I decided to order the signed version of it, and I'm really glad I did, because I just thought I had a good feeling about this one. And you're going to see another artist that kind of in that same genre later on in the countdown that does things even a little bit better. But this is a good album, especially if you do like the other artist that I'm going to talk about later on. Great album here, a lot of fun, great songs, and again, it's not going to change the world kind of stuff, and it's not going to say, wow, you know, they get points for originality, but they get points for doing what they do very well. And let's see, we got here number 27. Yeah, Sherlocks were 28. 27 is, I think, the third one I have anyway, from an artist that I know very little about. I don't know his background at all, but I can tell you that This first album I bought from him, loved it. Second album I bought from him, didn't like it that much. This one, very much like the first one, love it. This is City Music by Kevin Morby. Yeah, Morby. Fantastic. I'm a singer-songwriter again. Fantastic. I mean, these are some songs that you just will definitely want to hear more than once. And this is another Vinyl Me Please issue. A lot of my money this year has gone to Vinyl Me Please, hasn't it? But they do very good pressings, I must say. I've never really gotten one yet that I haven't been happy with. I'm really running out of time, but this is an artist, if you're not familiar with and you like singer-songwriter stuff, you really got to check it out because he does things very well. I'm so glad I'm almost done because I'm losing my voice. Number 26, this will be the end for today, is an album that I took a chance on. It's on a label I love, 4AD, and heard this lead single and I thought, yeah, that's pretty good. And the whole album's really, really damn good. This is an artist called Pix. In fact, I don't know if this is her first album. This might be her second album. This first one not from me. And this is The Age of Anxiety. Fantastic. This is it's kind of pop, but it's more dancey and it's more varied. There's a lot of variety on this record, believe it or not, and the cover is very unique and cool. It's a bit like Sia, I suppose, where you never know what's coming next, but better in my opinion. And an album I think I've turned on to Dr. Robert. I think he, if I'm not mistaken, purchased this record and really liked it. So give it a try. Go to YouTube and check out the single. What was it called? I Bow Down, I think. I'm pretty sure that was it. Anyway, the whole album's really good, so you can't go wrong. And I'm sure there's many more videos by now. This is about 6 months old. But yeah, Pix, Age of Anxiety rounds out the 26 through 50 in this round. So there you have it. There's where we are with halfway through the countdown, plus the honorable mentions, and there's others that I could throw in there too, but I have to stop somewhere. So we're going to have about a 40-minute video. Sorry for the length, but I only do this once a year, and I know a lot of people look forward to it, so hopefully you don't mind that. And, of course, you always can fast forward through anything you don't want to see or hear. So, anyway, there you have it. I'm going to end it there. I'll be back right after Christmas, somewhere between Christmas and New Year, to wrap things up for 2017. Very excited. We got 25 great albums coming up, so what's going to be number one? Is your favorite going to be there? We'll find out very soon. So, until then, take care of yourselves. Merry Christmas, and I will see you before 2018. Take care. Bye for now.